Hello there, guys, and welcome back to the first match preview in absolutely ages. Football is officially back. We're ignoring last weekend. The Premier League is back. Manchester City are, of course, defending champions, and the 21-2022 campaign kicks off on Sunday as Manchester City play Spurs. It's going to be a load of fun. I'm going to talk about everything today. I'm going to overview the game in general, talk about the team news, injuries, and all that kind of stuff. Try and predict the lineup. Get some thought from Matt Hayes, who's a Spurs fan, and of course as well try and give my predictions for the game. Though, if you haven't already seen, if you follow me on Twitter, you may well know that I was part of the Overlap live fan debate the other day, which was featuring Gary Neville, Roy Keane, and Jamie Carragher, and a whole bunch of fans, Premier League fans, myself included. And we had a good old debate about the new season and loads of topics, including this one here, where I impressed Roy Keane with this question. Basically, I just want to know what your perception of Harry Kane trying to force him actually is. Does it really actually matter? And what I mean by that, obviously fans, we care because we're fans of the club and all this kind of stuff. But Kane's trying to get what's good for his career. And if we're being honest, it's kind of commonplace in football. Van Dijk did it, at Southampton. I mean, ultimately, no one's going to say he made the wrong call there. He's won a Champions League, he won the league, and this is from a City fan saying that. I mean, does it actually really matter? Is this all noise and he's just going to get what he wants and no one's going to care in 2 months anyway? Because we're debating, he should turn up for training, which obviously he should. Isn't this just part of the game, I guess I'm making?
What a great point. You should be sitting up here. That's a great point. That's a great point. No one's begrudging Harry Kane. And I suppose Levy at some stage was working in some other industry and he thought, I want to better myself. But it's how you do it. Yeah. It's what Harry can't be doing is dictating to Spurs the fee or when he goes or what. That's up to Spurs. I think nobody, even a decent Spurs fan would go, Harry, you're 28, you've been a brilliant player, a great servant, a brilliant lad apparently. I think no one would begrudge him going to Man City, but it's at Tottenham's valuation. It has to be. Because if every player dictated how much they were going to go for, what's the point in having a contract? Is Harry going to give all the money he gave back to Spurs for the last few years? It's give and take. You can't have your cake and eat it. You can't say to a club, I'm going to sign a contract for 200 grand a week, but next year I want to head away and I'll dictate the transfer fee. You can't do.
Cheers, Roy, man. I'm available most weekdays, most weekends. I can do it for a brew and some biscuits. I'm pretty cheap. Sky, if you're watching, get in touch. Must admit, it was quite nice hearing Roy Keane tell me that I should be sat in his seat. I did myself proud, I reckon. Go watch those full videos over there. Thank you to Sky Bet as well, basically, for the invitation. You can go watch the full episode over on the Overlap, and you'll be able to find the link in the description as well. And, of course, it's all part as well of the Sky Bet Fan Hope Survey, which you can pay attention to as well and see all the stats which I mentioned in my season preview as well. There'll be another clip later coming on as well from this about Jack Grealish if I remember to put it in, but it was great fun. Ty from AFTV arguing with Jamie Carragher, Keane and Neville is genuinely one of the most surreal experiences I've ever had in my life. Both parts are up now as well, but I came out of it looking pretty good, I reckon. Roy Keane seemed to like me anyway, so that'll do for me. Go watch that in the link in the description below. It was genuinely good fun. I enjoyed it an awful lot. Loads of great football fans. Machin was there from Redmen. I had a good chat with Makola as well and Rory and people. It was good fun. But let's go into this game. Because this is the big one. Manchester City away at Spurs. Obviously, this is the Harry Kane game. The man at the centre of this tug between these two clubs. It's going to be interesting. Guardiola, of course, was asked about Harry Kane in his press conference, and he had this to say: he's a player from Tottenham. I'm not going to talk about him. I made an exception last time, but usually I don't talk about transfers, which is true. And he did actually talk about him last time, which I was surprised by. It's very uncharacteristic of Guardiola to go and talk about any player that they're interested in. Usually, he just brushes it off. But that really obviously signified Manchester City's intentions to try and sign Harry Kane. For what it's worth, quick update on this. In my personal opinion, as soon as the Spurs game's out of the way, I think things get a lot more interesting because, of course, Spurs aren't want to see Harry Kane in a Manchester City shirt against them, so we'll see. But either way, we cannot deny there's an element of spikiness to this game because of this protracted transfer saga that's currently going on. Guardiola, of course, as well, was also asked about Man City playing another season, potentially without a recognised striker. given the idea that maybe Kane might not happen. And Guardiola replied saying, the intention is the same, to control the game and score as much as possible with or without a striker. He went on to say, we play with recognised strikers with Aguero and Gabriel Jesus. Unfortunately, he was injured, but he was a proper striker, and Gabriel is a proper striker too, Guardiola continued. So yeah, Guardiola did defend the idea of playing with Gabriel Jesus, which of course he's going to say. If we, for whatever reason, don't get Harry Kane, he's not going to piss off his only striker that he's got left. Technical striker in Gabriel Jesus. I know Varane's there, but technically as a recognised striker, Gabriel Jesus is the one there. But either way, this game is big. I mean, football is literally back. The Premier League is back. We've obviously got Jack Grealish as our big signing. Harry Kane could be also another one. But we have to start pretty strong with this game. It may be difficult given the circumstances, which I'll get onto in a minute. But we can't deny that this is going to be a tough start of the season. We play an awful lot of big teams early on. So we can't deny, unfortunately, the sun's right in my face there. We can't deny that this won't be a testing time at the start of the season for a myriad of reasons. But we go out there and we try and do the job. Obviously, we're not the only team that's had players away on international duty and all that kind of stuff. That's just life as a club as good as ours. A lot of our players are involved in this kind of thing. Don't forget as well, you can check out my season preview, 40 minutes of me previewing the season if you want to. There'll be a link on screen right about now. In terms of the team news, well, we do have a few people who are doubtful. Unfortunately, Kevin De Bruyne is one who will be missing. On KDB, Guardiola said he's getting better every day. We're still waiting, but he cannot do the full training session. Some with us and some alone. We'll see what happens in the next days. So De Bruyne is not quite there yet. I think he'll be back before Phil Foden, though. Foden does seem to be a couple of weeks behind Kevin De Bruyne, so I'm expecting some time, probably in September for Foden, which is naff, but that is just life. As well, Guardiola was talking about some of the late arriving players, and notably the England contingent. He said they came back really well. The sun and rest produced a good effect. I would say really good. Everyone is ready. Everyone's important. It's important when they come back that they're happy with the right energy. They need a little bit of time after 4 weeks off and 2 training sessions. It's the Premier League now, and we travel to London to get a good result. So that obviously includes the likes of Laporte, who came back, Sterling, Walker, Stones, Gabriel Jesus, Edison. All these players are only just recently back. So we don't really know how involved they are going to be. Grealish obviously back a little bit early, given the fact that he played in the Community Shield game and was back training a bit earlier with Aston Villa, which brings me into the lineup. And I think this is relatively, I think it kind of sort of picks itself, really, even being honest. I do think Edison will play this game. It could be Zach Steffen, but goalkeepers are broadly in good condition. They don't need loads of running to get up to match practice. They just need games. So I think Edison will play in goal, which is probably a bit harsh on Zach Steffen, given the fact that he was good the other day. But, you know, that's life. Edison's our number one, so I think it'll be Edison in goal. In centre-backs, I think it's going to be... It'll probably be Ake and Diaz again. Obviously, Ake wouldn't have the best time against in the Community Shield game. But I think it'll be those two. They'll be fine. I'm almost certain they will be. Then at full-back, I can imagine it being Joao Cancelo starting at right-back and Benjamin Mendy starting at left-back. So, yeah, I think Zinchenko won't play this game quite yet. I'm not sure Kyle Walker's there. He might be. It's Kyle Walker. He's physically immense. He could be fit enough. I can't see John Stones playing. Or Laporte. I think they'll need a little bit more time on the training pitch. And I think it makes sense to go with the ones who've played a few games recently. So that's what I see. I think he'll start Fernandinho at the heart of midfield there. I can see that personally. Fernandinho then sat behind Ilkay Gundogan and Bernardo Silva. Bernardo's still around. The intention for him is to go, but he's still here. No one's come in for him. So I do actually think we'll see Bernardo Silva play in this game, which will be interesting. Bernardo and Gundogan, which brings me to the wingers. There's absolutely no surprise that Mahrez will start on the right, in my personal opinion. I think we'll see Jack Grealish start on the left. This is another clip, by the way, which I totally forgot to mention as I was doing the lineup, so I've interjected myself, of me chatting to, once again, the guys over on the Overlap fan debate about Grealish. It's good fun. How far do you think Grealish can actually go? I mean by that, I guess comparison to other players that maybe some of you guys have played with, because he's an incredible player already, and I'm sorry, mate, for nicking him from you. But like obviously we've been blessed over the years with the likes of David Silva, Sergio Aguero, and he's been given the number 10 shirt as well, which is Aguero's shirt. What do you think the ceiling limit is for someone like Jack Grealish? Because we've talked about how he could improve, but are we talking about a guy who could be, right at the very top of the game, the way that you guys perceive someone like David Silva or something like that? I know he's a very different player, but how far can he go, in your personal opinion?
I think with Grealish, I always remember when you mention Zidane and Grealish, it's dangerous because people say he's comparing him to Zidane. I'm not. But when Zidane was at Bordeaux, there was this feeling that he didn't have a position. Where do you play him? he's got talent, but I'm not quite sure about him. Will he come to United, goes to Juventus? All of a sudden, a brilliant Juventus manager, Lippi, a brilliant Juventus team, grab hold of him and turn him into something that's like out of this world. And I look at Grealish's physique, it's incredible.
Oh yeah,
and Zidane's physique was incredible. And I look at Pep's coaching, and I just think that if the same level of improvement to Sterling could happen to Grealish, you've got something that's not just talented and potential now, it's incredible.
Good that. I enjoyed it. A good old chat once again about how highly they rate Jack Grealish. But anyway, back to the video. Sans Phil Foden, with Sterling not quite back up to obviously full fitness yet. I think we'll see Grealish start on the left for a debut, a full debut with Mahrez on the right. And then through the middle, I think we'll see Ferran Torres play as the striker, which means obviously the likes of Sterling and Gabriel Jesus on the bench as well. Sterling could start, by the way. I would not be surprised whatsoever. But I still think it probably will just be Ferran and then Grealish playing. In terms of the bench, then who does that leave? Let's have a think through the bench. We've got 9 slots on the bench, so that'll be Stefan. Other defenders, it'll be Zinchenko, it'll be obviously Walker, Stones, Laporte, probably all of them, and then of course it'll be Rodri on the bench. Jesus, Sterling. Maybe we'll see one of Palmer or, unless I missed someone there, I'm sure I have probably missed someone. Palmer or Adozie or McAtee on the bench. I would guess Cole Palmer would be the option there. So yeah, that's my prediction. I'm going to send you over now in the opposition view to Matt Hayes from Tottenham blog.
Hi Stephen, thanks a million for asking me to come on again. Always appreciate and enjoy coming on your channel to have a chat about Spurs. Just so happens this game probably won't be a fun one to talk about after the conclusion, but like I think the majority of people will be going into this one expecting a Manchester City win. And if you look at the weaknesses in Tottenham's defence, which have carried over from last season, I think it's difficult to kind of look beyond that. I know, of course, our big signing of the summer so far in Christian Romero, very excited to see him in the jersey for the first time, but he is carrying a knock that he picked up towards the end of the Copa America, I think actually in that final against Brazil. So I'd be very surprised if he does start in this one tomorrow. Looking at our other new signings, Brian Gill just joined up with the training yesterday. He got right through to the end of the Olympics before losing that with Spain. And then Pierluigi Gallini, I think a lot of the question that we all have is whether or not he'd be first choice ahead of Hugo Lloris. I personally think it will be Lloris until Gallini can prove himself to be that number one keeper, because we've had Lloris for maybe 8 years at this stage. But in front of him is the biggest concern, because you're looking at more than likely Dyer and Sanchez playing in centre-back. I'm sure you have all of City's front men licking their lips at that prospect. It's either Doherty or Aurier at right-back, because we haven't brought in a right-back yet, and then probably Sergio Reguilon on the left. Ahead of that, really, it's anybody's guess, to be honest, because we've been playing in pre-season Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Oliver Skip in the last couple of games against Chelsea and Arsenal. And look, Højbjerg, I think we all know him, and Skip was the Championship Player of the Year last year with Norwich. But I just think they're really, really similar players in what they do, and I think they kind of clash in there. When you have last season with a Højbjerg and an on-form Ndombele, they complemented each other really well. But Ndombele hasn't been seen in pre-season games at all. He hasn't even made the bench. At the beginning, that was paternity leave, but towards the end of it, Nuno said he was available, but just wasn't selected, and he's believed to be frustrated about that. Lo Celso is also an option in there, but it's going to be Højbjerg +1, and I think that'll be the way we approach this season, unless we can pick up a central midfielder in the window. There's a key man up top that I'm sure everyone is waiting for me to talk about. But Son definitely going to be on that team sheet. Dele Alli, I think, has been top of Nuno's priority list in terms of selection in pre-season. God, I don't even know who we're going to play. Bergwijn maybe could get a shout there. But Kane won't be starting up top. I think that is the one thing we can safely say. It's been a disappointing couple of weeks on that front, it has to be said. I know I was one of many Spurs fans who felt that he would stay professional and turn up to training. If he had to play, he'd play to the best of his ability. And then we had that week there where there's still discrepancies over what actually happened, with Harry Kane claiming he wasn't due back at training and returned at the previously agreed upon date. I don't think that's the case personally. I think there was a bit of white lies going on in that statement from Harry Kane, but up until the last 48 hours, I was convinced Kane was staying at Tottenham. Not because he wanted to stay, of course he doesn't, but because the cards are in Daniel Levy's hands. And look, I think City know more than many people exactly what that means for a transfer. Looking at Kyle Walker, we got what at the time seemed like a very high fee for him, but in hindsight was a great deal for City, I think. But yeah, I'm slowly kind of edging towards 50-50 on where Harry Kane will be playing next season. If he doesn't go this summer, it'll be next summer, and I've been resigned to that for this entire saga, to be honest. potential of him signing a new contract, but I'm sure that'll have some sort of get out clauses. But look, that's something that will escalate after the game on Sunday, as I know a lot of City reporters have been saying, and a few Tottenham ones kind of echoing that sentiment as well. But in terms of this game, it sounds silly, but I just want to see us play well. I want to see a bit of an insight into what we're going to be doing with Nuno this year, kind of what formation we're playing, how we're going to approach these big games, especially because with the new signings not in that team yet, and of course Nuno's first game, I think we'll be struggling to get too much out of this game, despite the apparent absences of Phil Foden and Kevin De Bruyne. But I'm going to be optimistic, and I'm going to go for a 1-1, but that's certainly my heart speaking over my head.
Big love to Matt there for that incredibly detailed oversight of Spurs so far. He's not the most optimistic, and I don't really blame him. It's been a pretty difficult summer with them, obviously with the manager toils trying to find a manager. They got a good one in Nuno in the end, of course, and they signed a couple of good players in Romero and Brian Gill, but Romero not available and doubtful. A few people doubtful as well, of course. Kane probably not going to be involved, but they still got some good players. Like Lo Celso, Holberg, Lucas Moura's son. They are good players, they are decent. But I think it's fair to say their preparation hasn't been perfect either, if we're being honest. Still, they are Spurs and they have quality, so we have to be wary. Which, of course, it makes sense to be. It's Spurs, they're good. Go subscribe to Match Channel as well, by the way. There'll be a link in the description below. So in terms of my prediction, well, it's going to be interesting. I'm not expecting a fluid Manchester City, but I'm expecting a Man City that have learned from their mistakes the other day. I genuinely think we made a few very visible mistakes, but I think City will be better than they were. I think we have to be better than that. So I'm actually going to say, do you know what? I'm going to be positive. I'm going to be positive and predict a Manchester City victory. I know a lot of people won't do, but I'm going to say 2-1 Man City. I think we'll turn up and be a lot better than we realise. I think Grealish will be impressive as well. I genuinely think he will do. And I think both teams will be really, really rusty. Spurs trying to find an identity. And City, even though they'll be rusty, I think we'll just have enough focus to win this game. So I'm going for a 2-1 Man City victory. I could be totally wrong there, but I feel like Spurs' pre-season hasn't exactly been great either in terms of their preparation with Harry Kane and all that kind of stuff. And one of their star signings injured. So I'm going to go for that. I'm going to be optimistic with 2-1 Man City. Guys, thanks for watching this video. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Go and check out, obviously, the overlap debate. It's fantastic. It'll be one on screen right now. Big love to Scott Denemy, my Patreon producer, of course, and all the names currently scrolling down the side of the screen. Go watch my chat this morning with Nader Manua as well, which is fantastic about the new season. And, of course, my season preview. And I will be back on Sunday, of course, for a watch-along ahead of that game. It's going to be good fun. For now, though, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll see you very soon.